the Fandom Bricks podcast.
I'm Sam, better known as Bite Size Bricks. I'm joined today by Josh, better known as the Galaxy of Bricks. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well. I mean, we've just overcome some pretty terrible technical issues, but we're getting there.
Absolutely. So is the wonders of technology in the 21st century.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've decided we wanted to do a podcast, just another way for us to talk a little bit more about Lego. And we've got a few things that we're going to go through today, a few hot topics in the world of Lego, and a few things that we've got coming up as well. But we're going to start off with some Lego life stories. So, Josh, have you come across any Lego this week? Have you bought anything? Have you built anything?
Well, funny you should mention that, because as you've probably seen, there are a lot of really good deals on Amazon at the moment, and Lego have been doing double VIP points. But it was my birthday on the 7th of October, and on the 8th of October, Zavvi were having a sale. So if you spent over £70 on their online store and used Lego code LEGO10, you got 10% off your purchases. And I made a purchase that I myself personally, on my late night Lego show last night that I did, have been bragging about, and it's got to be this, the Guardians of the Galaxy ship.
Amazing.
I'm so over the moon to have gotten that. It was supposed to be something like £130, but it was retailing on Zavvi for like £98, and then 10% off that, I got it for like £88, and it was just an absolute killing.
It's amazing. Some of the sales on there were ridiculous. I know we were talking earlier in the week, I was looking at the Camp Nou, the Barcelona stadium, yes, and it had over £100 off on Zavvi. It was ridiculous. Some of the deals coming out at the moment are very, very good, but yeah, I'm being quite picky with what I'm going for. I'm still sort of waiting for the next line. There's nothing standing out at the moment other than the Razor Crest, which we'll touch on a little bit later. Nothing's standing out for me that I'm really desperate to get at the moment. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair,
I mean, for myself, no, carry on.
No, okay. I mean, to be fair, like the Milano was on maybe my top 3 recent purchases list. It was something that I was looking at, but it wasn't number 1. It was maybe like number 2. My number 1 was the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is currently on sale on the Disney Store online, apparently. So it's worth looking out on there. It's 20% off if you spend over so much. So.
Oh wow! I've everywhere I've looked for the Sanctorum, it seems to be out of stock. But no, this week for myself, I have just spent hours and hours looking on Facebook Marketplace. Nothing really coming up around me at the moment. But I did pick up I couldn't even tell you what it was. Another one of these Harry Potter book sets.
Nice.
Because I'm going to turn it into a bit of a mop. I think we both know that I'm not a massive fan of Harry Potter.
No.
But I built one of these book sets a while ago, and they're really, really clever builds to try and like fit everything in there.
Yeah.
And I figured, why are other themes not taking that route and doing something similar? Because it would be really cool to have like a stack of books along your shelf for different things. So I'm going to do a book of Boba Fett. So I've done a Bricklink order and bought loads and loads of pieces for it. The plan is to have like a Scorpionic droid. I'm going to try and build a Scorpionic droid from the final episode and have like Boba and Mando kind of floating around with Tatooine streets somewhere. So it's going to be a really complicated, quite a small, complicated build, but I'm going to give it a go, see what I come up with. Okay.
I like it.
Next up, we are going to move on to our first main topic. Now, our first main topic this week is Lord of the Rings is back.
Yes.
So Lego have announced that they are releasing some Lord of the Rings sets next year. The one in particular we're going to talk about is the £500 price point. Now, we had a short discussion about this last night, but I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts, Josh. First of all, how do you feel about Lord of the Rings being back? Are you a big fan yourself? And what do you think that £500 price point set might be?
Well, I mean, Lord of the Rings, I'm gutted that I got out of Lego collecting when Lord of the Rings was at its peak as a Lego set, because a lot of people don't realise that, like most things, you grow out of something for a little bit, and I didn't get back into Lego until about 2014, so I missed out on a hefty chunk of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and the things like that. So to have the chance to possibly go and start a new theme to collect is exciting, and Lord of the Rings is definitely one of those things that growing up as a child, I remember instinctively. I can remember going to the cinema to see Return of the King. I can remember watching the extended edition of Two Towers and the Battle of Helm's Deep, and there's just so much iconic cinematography from the trilogy. Not so much The Hobbit. I'm not as into The Hobbit as I am with Lord of the Rings, but I still would invest my time in it because as a platform to sort of engage with people, Lego is a good avenue to go for them, I think, and I think it'll sell. It'll sell well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm exactly the same. I kind of got back into Lego collecting maybe 3-4 years ago, and it was all about Star Wars. And I'm a massive fan of Lord of the Rings myself, and it's I'm kind of like you. I'm sort of thinking that if they do continue to bring out sets, then my collection might begin to get a little bit split between the two. I'm desperate. I think Lego have probably seen that in recent times, especially with the release of the Rings of Power, those old Lord of the Rings sets are becoming so valuable, and people want them. A lot of people want them at the moment. So I do think they know. I think they already know they're onto a winner by bringing it back. And I'm definitely going to be one of the suckers that goes along and shells out a ton of money to get whatever they come out with. So you mentioned a few things there, iconic scenes, and I know that Rings of Power is doing the same. The visuals in it are just
phenomenal.
breathtaking, to be honest.
Yeah.
They are unbelievable. So what do you think? You mentioned Helm's Deep there. What do you think this £500, it's a really odd price point, I think, especially with the price hikes at the moment. You kind of look at the Razor Crest and it's at a similar sort of price point. You think, what could they do? Because they don't have, like Star Wars, it's like ships, isn't it, when you get to that sort of price point. Lord of the Rings don't really have that sort of piece that you could just build. It almost feels like it has to be some sort of large diorama set if it's not a play set. So what are your thoughts?
Well, as you rightfully just pointed out, it's been confirmed that it's definitely not a play set. So that is one thing. Obviously, you were there on Late Night Lego on TikTok with me and a few of our guests last night, so we spoke a lot about this and we got a lot of different people's viewpoints. Me personally, I think if they're going to invest their time in this and they're going to have it at that price point, it's got to be something that they know people are going to want to buy and is going to make them money. So it could be a version of Helm's Deep, but a more scaled up, like, not playset, but diorama level Helm's Deep. Could very well be Minas Tirith, which, can you imagine the white and the sort of like the grey mixed in with something like that? And obviously, because it's Minas Tirith as well, it would be a hefty set for £500 because it would be level, and then it'd peter out into the long dagger-shaped piece at the top of Minas Tirith. But I would not be surprised if they were going to gamble it because they know it's Lord of the Rings. People are going to want to buy it. If, like you and I rightfully said, we missed out on it originally, we're going to want to get back into it. It wouldn't surprise me if it was something a little bit off the wall. So it could very well be something from the Mines of Moray, from the Fellowship of the Ring. It could be something with the Balrog. It could easily be Weathertop, where Aragorn fights the Nazgul and protects the hobbits. So there are options there. I think they're going to play it safe and they're going to go for Helm's Deep or Minas Tirith. But what do you think, Mo?
Yeah, I completely agree. You kind of start looking through the films and looking at different points in the film, and they have got a lot to play with. It's just how they're going to put that. If the price point keeps knocking it, like Minas Tirith, I feel like if they're going to do that, it's going to end up micro scale, isn't it? Almost like the architecture sets, those little vignettes where they've got like the London and the New York skyline that are only like small little sets. But I think if they're going to do Minas Tirith, because of the sheer size of it, it would have to be on that sort of scale.
Or it'll be something that they know that people will buy, but will maybe want a great amount of detail. Because if you look at the UCS sets like the Millennium Falcon, the Razor Crest, they're intricate designs. The UCS Y-Wing is a prime example. Like the greebling and the detailing of just the engine port is another prime example. They're going to want something that is so detailed with that price range. They're not going to skimp out and give you something that people are not going to want to invest in. I mean, Hogwarts, they did a UCS style Hogwarts set, and that had like micro scale minifigures with it. So it'll be interesting to see how they go with it. But again, I don't know.
I think I completely agree. What do you think about the bust? I know that Jamie, the brick educator, has mentioned a few different options, like the bust and the statues. What do you think about that at that price point? Would it have to be like a huge,
it
like,
would have to be
Sauron type?
It would have to be on the scale of. It would have to be bigger than the Black Panther book that has been released.
Yeah,
because
it would have to be.
Yeah,
wouldn't
because
it? Because what's that selling at? 300?
Yeah, that's 300. I think it's like 360 160.
Right. So that's quite a big jump then from there to 500. It would have to be something pretty impressive. So I can't really see that being an option. The other one that I could, almost in the vein of the Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan set, where we got a grey base plate, would they go as far as doing a Mount Doom?
For 500, not a chance, because can you imagine the uproar
If you just have black and brown blocks.
You'd get a Frodo, a Samwise Gamgee, and a Gollum. You'd get a mechanism to move the lava from Mount Doom, and then the rest of it is just one massive volcano. No.
One pile.
Yeah, it's just a pile of just orange and red blocks to make the lava. Not a chance. That would. I think there would be anarchy in the streets if that did happen.
Absolutely. I think that would kill off the Lord of the Rings Lego before it even started if they go for that. Yeah. Right, well, either way, I'm very excited about some Lord of the Rings Lego, so I'm looking forward to see what they do come up with.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's been a while, so I think they've probably thought it over carefully. I'd like to think they'll come up with something good.
Time will tell.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that sort of brings us on to our second main topic this week, which is the Razor Crest. Obviously, we've just discussed that sort of price point, and we've discussed the UCS sets. So the Razor Crest has been released. People have been picking it up in the last couple of weeks. What were your thoughts when it was released? What did you think of it? And are you thinking, would it be something that you might pick up at some point?
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm a massive Star Wars nerd. I love The Mandalorian. It's one of my favourite Star Wars subgenres that's out there at the moment. I love Mandalorians. I love the aesthetic, that grungy post-Imperial downfall aesthetic. But for me, I am not invested in the UCS Razor Crest for that price.
No, I'm exactly the same. I kind of look at it and I think, as amazing as it looks, I've got the sort of £120 Razor Crest, and I just think, why am I buying this now? I'm not. Especially, I think, in the fact that, it was blown up. In my head now, it would be much more relevant. I don't think enough time has passed since it blew up for it to be released now. I think maybe if you waited 5-6 years and then brought it out, kind of like the gunship.
Yeah.
So they haven't released a gunship since 2013. So that's almost, when did it come out? 2020 maybe? So they're waiting 7 years before they're bringing out the next one, and it's a UCS. So people were excited about that, myself included. But with the Razor Crest, they only brought one out, I think it was 2019 that came out. So it's 3 years.
Yeah, there's been about 3 Razor Crests in about 3 years, something like that.
Yeah. And it's not like it's even been retired for more than a year or so. Some places are still stocking them. I know I saw it at my local small toy store the other day. They still had one in stock. And you think, when they've still got that scale one, the midi scale one, why are they bringing that out so soon afterwards? It almost feels like a bit of a cash grab on Lego's part. Mandalorian's popular, so we'll make a Mandalorian UCS and hope that it sells well.
It's one of them. And I mean, I get it from their point of view why they're doing it, because it is the in vogue thing. I mean, you can go to a variety of different places now, and there's Mandalorian merchandise, there's Grogu merchandise. The Mandalorian has become a cash cow for Disney and the Star Wars brand, and I get it, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I mean, I've got one of the best Mandalorian sets. Actually, no, I've got two of the best Mandalorian sets they've ever made, which are the ATST Raider from the first season of The Mandalorian and the Mandalorian Forge. Those are two of my personal favourite sets from The Mandalorian, and two of my favourite sets from those waves. So I'm not going to knock The Mandalorian. I just think that for what you're paying for that price, you can get a Daily Bugle and a Sanctum Sanctorum for less than that combined. And for maybe, £200 more, you could get a UCS Millennium Falcon, which we all know is on a lot of collectors' sets, but we just can't justify it. So it's...
Yeah, I'd never ever thought about it like that, but being able to get the Sanctorum and the Bugle for the same price, they're almost, when you put it like that, it's a no-brainer. Why? Especially when you start looking at things like the minifigs, they've got an exclusive printed Mando, and Grogu's got his little pram in there. But why you? I don't understand how people can justify. I guess if you've got that sort of money, it's not an issue. But justifying spending that sort of money, for me, I'm still at the point where I have to decide between things. I can't get everything. So when it's put like that, that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah,
really.
that's how I've kind of justified it. It's the fact that if you look at, I know obviously the scale is different, and obviously the type of UCS style sets that they are different. But if you look at something like the Daily Bugle, which has got like 24, 25 minifigures, 16 of which are exclusive to the Daily Bugle, and you look at something like Sanctum Sanctorum, which has 3 different versions of Doctor Strange. It comes with other characters as well, and it's adapted so that a couple of the smaller Marvel-based sets from Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, you can fit into the Sanctorum. It's adapted and worked so that things like that can be factored into it. And I think if I was a collector who had the money, like you've rightfully said, when you think about it and you sit back and you just like look at it through a lens, you're going to go for 2 sets that offer you versatility, a great selection of minifigures. They look amazing on display, and you're getting, between the 2 sets, you're getting about 30 minifigures as opposed to like the 4 or 5 that you're getting for a $500 Razor Crest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it does seem ridiculous, and I don't think it was the summer wave. I think it might have been January last year. We were sort of working out the price of all the sets combined, and most Lego waves, certainly for Star Wars, you can get everything that's coming out for around about between £350 and £400. Will get you all of the normal sets that are coming out, bar the UCS ones. So for me, I would much rather. I'm trying to think of what came out in the last wave. You've got the ATT Kenobi Starfighter,
the Grand Inquisitor,
BD1, the Scythe.
Yeah, the Grand Inquisitor shot. And
you're getting all of that for less than the Razor Crest.
Exactly.
And so when you start thinking about on terms like that, for me as someone, like we just said, that doesn't have the money to be buying everything, I would much rather, if I had that money, put it towards all of those sets than just one slightly larger version of a set that I already have. Yeah. And like you say, it becomes different when it's something like the Falcon that is so iconic and so detailed and has all the minifigs and has a bit of customization on it. You then start to think, okay, so if you're getting up to that sort of price point, why not just go a little bit further and pick up a much more iconic set?
I know, it's crazy. And I mean, look at how long the UCS Falcon has actually been in circulation. Lego know that people are going to want to buy that, and that is why that has been around in circulation for so long. A lot of the other style UCS sets from Star Wars have maybe had a 2-3 year life on sale, whereas the UCS Falcon has been around for about 5 or 6 years now. And people,
it's 5.
Yeah, people are buying it, aren't they? So it's a no-brainer in that respect. It's got to be something, like you said, that is iconic.
I think people will consistently continue to buy it as well, because I think it's one of those things that everyone wants. If you're a Lego collector or a Star Wars fan, everyone wants it. And so people are going to reach the ability to pay for that at different points in their lives. And so you're going to consistently get a flow of people picking that up when they're able to do it. And I think I was looking at a report the other day because they said that they're going to retire the Star Destroyer, the UCS Star Destroyer, and the sales on that in the last 2 months since they announced they're going to retire it have like skyrocketed because everybody's now panic buying that. And I think the same would happen if they decided that they were going to retire the Falcon. I think everyone that was even considering it would just be like, right, I'm just going to jump at it. I'll deal with the consequences afterwards, but I need to pick it up.
Very much so, yeah.
Whereas I think the Razor Crest will probably die a slow death.
It's one of them.
But we'll see. Yeah. I was going to say, we've discussed it before. The original N1 Starfighter is my favourite ship in all of Star Wars. So I think when they were talking about possibly doing a UCS Mandalorian set, in my head I was like, I would love a UCS N1 Starfighter, even if it was Mando's one. If it was that, for me, and that's definitely like a personal thing, and one of my big personal projects at the moment, I've started, and I haven't shown anyone yet, I've started on one engine to build a UCS Anakin's pod racer.
Ooh.
And it's fairly large in scale, but I've been working up to I've been toying around with the engine for a while. and I think I've got one of them now, so I now need to replicate it and then start building. But that's a massive project that I'm undertaking at the moment. I'm trying to do it with kind of bricks that myself and Jacob have got lying around, so I don't have to spend too much on it, but I'm getting there slowly. Which kind of brings me on to the next question. We've had the Razor Crest now. We're probably going to have a Master Builders play set come out next year. What do you think that might be?
Ooh, I'm going to copy something that one of my dear collaborators has mentioned numerous times, and the more I sit there and think about it, the more and more I want one, which I think would be like a Master Builders series Geonosian Arena.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people calling for that. I think it's the last big Star Wars scene, I guess, never had it done justice. Anyway,
2013 they released like a playset scale one, but we haven't had one in nearly 10 years, and it's something. What is it, like the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones? Like, is pretty much this year, isn't it?
Yeah. So, it was 2002.
Yeah, so it's coming towards the end of the 20th anniversary.
Maybe an announcement before the end of the year would be nice, but I'm definitely on board with that. I would love a Geonosian Arena. I'm not quite sure, because you look at the things like the cantina that can fold up, and I'm sort of thinking in my head, if they were to do a Geonosian Arena, it would almost be like you'd have the main podium with Poggle the Lesser and Dooku and Django, and then it would kind of like fold in around and open back out. I feel like that would be the way to go, certainly if it's going to be a Master Builder set, because my biggest gripe, I have Cloud City, and my biggest issue with that is it's so big. There's just nowhere to store it. You have to literally have its own table to put it anywhere, and there's no way of making it any smaller. And I get it, and it's an amazing build. It's such a great build to build, but it is very, very awkward to store in a collect. Whereas the cantina is much easier, because you kind of fold it in and tuck it away when you need to. So I feel like that's the sort of route that they could go down with it. Have you got any other out there theories of what else it might be?
And we're sticking with Master Builders, are we? Like, that is exclusively what we're thinking.
Or if it was a UCS set, what the next big Lego
You know what I'm going
to
say. This is the thing. You know what I'm going to say if we're talking UCS and Star Wars, because for me, it's a no-brainer.
Go on, share with the people.
You guys know I am a sucker for Star Wars Rebels, and with the announcement of Ahsoka, and they've cast Ezra Bridger in the series as well, and we've got Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka Tano, it's got to be a UCS Ghost, because I missed out on the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. It's been a long time since Rebels has ended, and it still gets me in the feels that I missed out on the Ghost. And I think, as we said with the UCS Falcon, give me a Ghost that you can customize and interchange, where you can get the Rebels TV show version and the Ahsoka version. Give me that, and I will gladly spend £500 of my hard-earned money on a UCS-style Ghost, because imagine just the detailing in the bubble in the bubble turret. Imagine the detailing in the engine ports. Imagine the cockpit design of a UCS Ghost. Tell me you cannot like that, because it would be good.
I would love it. And also, I think back to the scale of the Phantom.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I think with that Ghost, because they had to make it work somehow. But I think you could just get a much better scale Phantom on the end as well. You could have the Phantom 1 and the Phantom 2 if you go in UCS, so there's a bit more customization as well. I'm with you. I would love to see that. The only other one I had in the back of my mind that I would love to see, almost as like the Death Star 2 display set. Have you seen that one? Where it's just the paneling, and I would like to see a Topoka City Camino. I would love to have that as like a display piece. Would be really cool.
That's quite a good one.
But I don't know how they would do that with like minifigs and stuff as well. I think that would, almost like the Death Star, it would be just a purely display, look at how cool this is piece.
I think so, yeah.
But yeah, I think certainly with the release of Ahsoka, I don't feel like originally they said Ahsoka was coming out next year, but I know that they pushed the Bad Batch to next year rather than this year, and everything seems to getting pushed back a little bit. So Ahsoka may not come out next year, but I know with the release of it, there's going to be a lot of hype for Rebels stuff. And so I think you're right on the money with that. I think if they release the Ahsoka show, they're they will bring out Rebel sets or another Ghost, because I think they know how popular it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that a lot of people didn't like originally when it came out, but as the years have gone by, people have kind of warmed to it a little bit. And I mean, if you look at some of the amazing sets that came out from the original Rebels line from like 2015, there are some great sets out there. And I mean, the original Ghost itself, it's the only Lego set to date that has Zeb Aurelia. You can't get Zeb in any other Lego set. They've done a microfighter scale Ghost with Hera Syndulla. It's the only time you can get a Hera Syndulla. Sabine Wren has been in about 3 or 4 sets, and she's been in an advent calendar. Kanan Jarrus has been in about 2 sets, and Ezra Bridges has been in about 2 sets as well. So it's a no-brainer. They're going to want to jump on that nostalgia bandwagon, like we said with Lord of the Rings. They're going to want to cater to those people, A, who are older collectors and have got the money to spend, and B, they're going to want to bring those mediums to a younger, newer, fresher generation. And I think one character that I hope gets another re-release is Admiral Thrawn, because I am a massive fan of Admiral Thrawn, and you and I have spoken about this very detailed and in great lengths. Heir to the Empire, the original expanded universe that is now legend in the current canon, is one of the best trilogies ever, and the recent Thrawn trilogy is very good. We've only ever had one Admiral Thrawn minifigure, which was in the Phantom 2 that was released in, I think it was like 2016, 2017. And that came with a blind Kanan Jarrus. That's the only Admiral Thrawn we've ever had to date. And I think if they're going to do a Ghost, they're going to bring an updated Admiral Thrawn in with a set like the Ghost as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think if as soon as they find, because that is what the Ahsoka show is going to be. It's going to be Ahsoka and Sabine going to find Ezra. As soon as they find him and Thrawn, there's going to be sets. Yeah. They're going to do another Thrawn set. The same happened with Kenobi. The Inquisitor set from Rebels that I did luckily get, it became so ridiculously priced. Like, prior to Kenobi coming out, I was seeing the Grand Inquisitor minifig going for like £150, just the minifig itself. And then as soon as Kenobi came out and they brought out the Scythe, then it's kind of gone down to a much more reasonable price again. And I think the same will happen for Thrawn, because it is one of the most exclusive minifigs you can get. I think Rebels portrayed him in such a way that people became fans. They started to kind of get to know this character, and obviously we've talked about the Thrawn book trilogies as well, who have kind of and that's the one thing, I guess, away from Lego, looking at the show, that's the one thing that I do kind of hope they address, because in Rebels and then the 2 book trilogies, he's portrayed in a completely different way. In Rebels, he is very much the villain, and I understand that because you're seeing it through the Rebels point of view, and then when you kind of read the trilogies, you kind of realise that actually this guy just wants to do right by his people, and actually he's the hero of those stories. So it would be really cool to get the kind of general audience to understand the character a little bit more, and he is, I mean, you've said why he's one of your favourite characters. For me, it's because he's possibly the most complex character in all of Star Wars. He's got so many different facets.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that he can use art to kind of unpick entire war strategies and things and take down other civilizations it blows my mind. And I think they kind of touched on that in Rebels, but I'd like to kind of see that expanded on a little bit. I was talking to my brother the other day about Andor and this guy's antique shop, and we were discussing the fact that at the time of Andor, Thrawn is very much a part of the Empire, and we were sort of like, wouldn't it be amazing if in Andor you just see Thrawn walk into this antique shop to like pick up a few little trinkets for his room?
Absolutely. And I mean, again, it's one of those situations where we as older fans, we remember what it was like as part of the original, before Disney bought the rights to Star Wars. We remember what it was like as the old expanded universe canon, and we remember I don't know if you remember, but the Power of the Force 3 3/4 inch action figures, the Admiral Thrawn was fantastic, and I've got Admiral Thrawn as I've got him as a 6-inch Black Series collectible on my shelf at home. I don't ever plan on taking him out of the box.
No.
And he's one of like my most, I mean, I've got Cobb Vanth, but Admiral Thrawn trumps Cobb Vanth for me in terms of collectibles that I own. And I think, as you rightfully said, even if there was just an Easter egg, not even him appearing, but there's just a passing comment of, Thrawn is coming to meet you at this time, he wants to look at a certain collection, it would just tie things together really nicely, I think.
Yeah, Yeah, definitely. And we were looking because they've got a Calicori, one of those Twi'lek things that they have their family heirlooms on. So yeah, I think that would be cool. I don't think they're going to do it, but I was sort of hopeful, speculating. Right, that took a wild tangent away from the UCS set, the
it was a
possible
good tangent
UCS
though,
set.
nonetheless. Let's be honest.
Always is with Thrawn,
Oh
isn't
God, when it comes to Thrawn, if you guys have not gone and read Heir to the Empire, which is the original trilogy or the recent Thrawn trilogy, it is mine and Bite Size Bricks' recommendation to check it out. It is a fantastic set of trilogies to read.
Okay, so we're going to go on to our final main topic, which is an exciting one for us because this weekend, I think the plan is to have this pod out maybe a couple of days before, but this weekend on Sunday we are both headed. I'm headed up and you're headed down to Birmingham Brickfest.
Yeah.
So what are you excited about?
I mean, I'm very much a people person, so I'm just excited to see all the people that I have communicated with through doing TikTok and Instagram and doing my Lego videos and my Lego interaction, because I've been doing Lego Talk for less than 12 months. So seeing all you guys in the flesh and not behind a computer screen or a phone screen or something like that is what I'm excited for. It'd be nice to actually meet the people in real life for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's very odd because I think we sort of started at a similar time on Lego Talk, as it were. I think I started around March time, and it was amazing. I think I was talking to Just 15 about this as well, and he's turning up as well. But I was talking about how quickly the algorithm picked up what I was doing, and very quickly just showed me all these other amazing people that are producing much better content than I am, and just having fun with it. And it just, I think if I go right back to my first video, it was just like me building a Boba Fett. I think it was Boba Fett's throne room actually, was my first build. So when that came out, and it was just the thing, like my boy had got really into watching Lego YouTubers, and he was sort of like, why don't you make videos when you're doing your Lego? And I was like, well, maybe I will. And I just recorded myself building it. I put it on, and that first video got a couple of views, couple of comments, and then I was like, oh, there's all these other people doing this, and it just kind of snowed from there. I think for both of us, it became, I think it's just such a nice community where everybody's just so friendly. Everybody's just there because they love Lego, and we can have a chat about nonsense, and it's a nice little escape, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I mean, I've alluded to this a few times on my previous videos, and I've even talked about it on my YouTube channel, because when I originally started doing this, my intention was just to do YouTube videos, do set reviews and things like that, and talk about my collection. Then I got into Lego Talk, and now TikTok is my big platform. That is where a lot of my interactions are with other people who, like yourself, are very much interested not just in Lego but in Star Wars and other like niche, geeky, quirky things. And I would say that something like this has been a big influence in my life, because I got into this at a really tough time. I was going through some personal stuff, which I won't delve into on the podcast, but it kind of helped reorientate my life into something that I was invested in, and then meeting amazing people in the Lego Talk community, and like you said, creators who are exceedingly talented, and I will never aspire to be at their level because I just don't have the skill, the patience, or the talent to be at that level. It was good, and it's kind of like, it's the most friendliest of communities I've ever been involved with, and it's gotten to a point now, I don't know about you, but it's gotten to a point now where I have people DMing me or messaging me, asking me for advice on Lego sets and recommendations. They're looking at something within a certain budget, and it's quite surreal really to be in that kind of, I wouldn't say obviously for you and I, we don't get paid for this. This is just a hobby because we love it. But to be kind of put on a pedestal where people want to come to you for advice, it's surreal, really, I think.
It is very, very odd. I still find it really, because I feel like my page kind of grew quite quickly at the start, but it was like people that were obviously very interested in Lego as well, and it quite quickly became that sort of situation that you're just saying, where people would message me and be like, oh, I'm thinking of buying this set, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, why do you care what I think?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's that sort of situation. Like, it's a very surreal thing where people coming for advice. But I think it's never been, like you say, everybody's so friendly. It's never been like oh, I don't agree with you on this. Every single discussion I've ever had. So I'm thinking I was very much a big part of like Star Wars Twitter maybe 5-6 years ago, where it was like, especially around like Force Awakens time, everybody was super hyped, super helpful, everybody was super friendly, and then The Last Jedi came out and the whole thing kind of turned, and it was like any opinion you had on anything was just like, no, you're wrong, it's rubbish. And it's just, and so to come from that and come into like this Lego community where like you can be like, Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan is my favorite set ever, and everybody's like, awesome, like that's great, it's not for me, but that's amazing that that's what you're into, and I just think everybody's so positive. So yeah, I'm with you. I think looking forward to kind of seeing everyone when we get there, and also kind of getting some inspiration. I think, you know me, I like to create things as well. I like to build mocks, and so to have a look around at what other people are doing, sort of putting mine to shame, but it's like a bit of an aspirational thing. Like I want to look around. I one day want to be displaying some of my sets when we go to these things as well. Absolutely. So that's kind of the aim for me. So it would be really cool to just kind of get to grips with what other people are doing and having a look around.
I think that's good, and then who knows, maybe you might get the call and they might ask us to go on Master Builders. You never know. I just get like a WhatsApp message off you saying, I've been called up to Master Builders, and I'll be like, what? Roll that back a second.
It would be the absolute dream.
Oh, that is
honestly, I watched that program. I've been watching the new series. I watched that program, and I'm just like, these are the luckiest people alive 100%. To be in that room. I rewatched the Star Wars one a few weeks ago, and like to go into that room where it's just filled with pieces from Star Wars sets, and they're being asked to create their own shit. I'm like, I would be in my they would have to drag me out of that room.
I've just got this image in my head of you just clutching onto the wall, finger marks to security, like drag you out the door.
No, that would be awesome. But yeah, I think I'm just enjoying being a part of it. And I think we haven't really spoken about it much, but I took a break for like a month and a half over the summer, and we've had a lot of things going on at home, outside of Lego and work and things. So that was really nice to kind of take a step back, because before I was recording myself building stuff, and nobody watches people build stuff. They just want to know your thoughts on things and see different things. I've kind of gone back to, if I'd go back to like my first few videos that I did, I've gone back to just making silly little videos, things that make me chuckle and having fun with it again. I think there was a point where I definitely got in my head a little bit about how many views is this getting? Why is this not getting so many views? And it's like, that's not why I did this. I don't want to be that person. So I like completely took a step back from it, took a break, spent the summer with the family, and then kind of came back to it, and I've really enjoyed it again. I think getting away from that and just like doing this, the whole thing for me for this is just to have someone to talk to about Lego. It's like time to just talk, which is great. And I think you said you were in a low place. I think mental health wise, having a hobby but also having like-minded people that are there to talk to about it makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And it's one of those situations where I think you look at I'm on the same vein as you. Like there was a stage a few months ago where I think I had about 8 or 10 days where I didn't post any Lego content, I didn't post any TikTok content, and I kind of just took a step back and I just spent time with my family, my friends, and I just had a little bit of me time. And because TikTok and Lego Talk especially are just so engrossing, and they're just so, you do get kind of swept up in this sea of, somebody's made a video about this. Oh, this is a common trend. Everybody's using this sound. Everybody's making videos about this. You can get lost in just all these ideas, and it can be overwhelming. And I think I would never begrudge any person who is a content creator or is getting into this. I would never begrudge anybody saying, okay, I'm having X amount of time away from TikTok and Lego because I need to just refresh and recharge. And I think that in itself is more important, because you can't do things and make things and build things if you're not in the kind of the best headspace you can possibly be in. So I think I myself have noticed this, but since you've come back from obviously your break and stuff, you've been putting out content, and it's amazing, because I I always get inspiration from what other people post, and some of the content you've been putting out there is amazing. Some of your stuff and your ideas, I'm like, God, I wish I'd have thought of that. I wish, I could have done that. But it's just nice to see that you're back to a point where you're comfortable posting stuff again. And by all accounts, mate, people are enjoying what you're posting. So that's the main thing. As long as you enjoy it first, everything else is secondary.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, it's awesome that people like it, and it still feels surreal to me that, like, however many people have liked certain videos, but it, like you say, it got to the point with me where I was so worried about, like, what am I posting? Is this gonna do well? Should I bother doing this if it's not gonna? And then I just thought, what? Like, the whole point of me doing this was as a bit of an escape, to have a break from stressing about work and stressing about family and everything else. It was, the whole idea was for it to be a break and to be an escape. And then when I started thinking about it as, like, I'm trying to get views, or I'm trying to make sure that this does well when I post it, then it becomes work and it becomes stress. And so I just needed that, like, break away for a bit to kind of reevaluate why I'm doing it and why I want to do it. And then it became easy again. Now making videos, it's fun again, and it takes me 5 minutes to come up with an idea and just smash it out. Even, like, little ones that I'm just, like, sat on my phone, like, making videos, and it's just I'm enjoying doing it again. So yeah, I think that's the best place to be in. You don't want to be worrying about how many people are going to be watching your stuff.
Exactly.
I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to improve your stuff and worrying about, like, is this good? How could I improve this? I think that's good. Again, it's just personal growth, isn't it? But worrying about whether other people are going to like it, I think that's never going to put you in a good place.
No, and it's like, for me personally, I look back to some of my earlier TikTok, and most of it was me trying to promote my YouTube channel, and then I look back now and how far I've grown in less than 12 months with the kind of content that I'm putting out there. So I'll do something serious, I'll do something a little bit quirky and fun, I'll jump on a trend, but at the end of the day, what suits you and what you want to do in that mood. Like, I can be out and about, and I could just be nipping to Tesco's or Sainsbury's, and I can see something Lego based, I'll pick it up, and then just on a whim I'll do, say, a mystery minifigure bag opening on something that I've picked up. I can be out and about and I'll see a toy store and I'll just nip in there and I'll pick something up. I can just make a quick video about what I found. So the ideas are there, and it's all about finding that happy balance, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think you found such a genius niche on there with your late.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I think you've got the perfect personality for it as well, to just kind of go on, chat, answer questions. I just think, like I said, I was your biggest fan. That's why I produced the artwork for it. I think that's such a happy place, isn't it? Like, whenever I'm scrolling in the evenings, just like having a quick scroll through, if I see you guys on, sometimes I don't even, like, come in and just, like, sit and watch, because it's just like everybody's having a good chat, answering questions. I think that's, like, a really good spot for
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I mean, late night Lego, it's one of those things. When we first came up with the concept of late night Lego, it was pretty much me and a couple of people who I discussed the idea with, but I'll take the inspiration for that.
Yeah.
I was going through TikTok and I was going through the lives, and I noticed there's no avenue for people just to sit and chat. It's all, if somebody does a live, they're building and they're trying to answer questions at the same time. And I thought, there's no avenue, there's no place for people just to hop on and talk about Lego and talk about recent set rumours and Lego things like that. And then when I came up with the idea of Late Night Lego for its inaugural week, I think I had something like 2 weeks off work, and I did a Late Night Lego every single night just to gauge what people thought, and was it going to be a daily thing? Was it something that was feasible to do all the time? And then, obviously, my day-to-day schedule changed, and I had to kind of take a step back. And now, Late Night Lego isn't something that is pre-announced. It's spontaneous, fun, it's quirky. And when you know that I'm on, 9 times out of 10, it's Late Night Lego. And I think that in itself is different, because somebody once described me, and that whole concept is, it's kind of like the Jay Leno of Lego, which I thought was quite...
You take that.
I'll take that. I was like, that's good. Jay Leno's been doing this for years. I'll take that. And I appreciate the fact that you did the graphic for Late Night Lego. I am going to look at getting it on t-shirts and mugs. So who knows? It could be future Late Night Lego merch. I'll split some of the profits with you, mate, as well. There you go.
No, you can keep those. No, I think I think it's a great thing, and I do remember you doing that when you had your couple of weeks off work. And how it almost spiraled out of control. Like, everywhere I looked, it was like, okay, Late Night Lego, and I think think people were loving it, weren't they? So I think in a dream world, in an ideal world, we'd have the time to do that every single night and sit down but alongside life and things, that's never going to happen. So it's no, it's nice to see when it comes
exactly.
on. So
next topic.
We'll get moving. So that was our Brickfest. Which we didn't really talk much about Brickfest, just talking about Lego Top. But that is the big thing for us, isn't it? For Brickfest, it's kind of meeting up with everybody, seeing everyone. I'm also looking forward to taking Jacob as well. So he's really looking forward to it. It was his birthday this week, so it's like his treat day out as well. So yeah. I think it should be a good day out for all of us. Right, we're going to skip on, and we're going to do something that hopefully, if we're going to continue doing this on a weekly basis, we're going to do a Lego draft every week. So this section is going to be our Lego draft. And for the first Lego draft, I thought since we're both Star Wars fans, we will veer away from Star Wars every now and then. We won't just focus on it. But I thought since we're both Star Wars fans, I picked the category of Jedi minifigures.
Ooh, baby.
So I think we've both had a good think about this. I don't know what your picks are, so it's going to be really interesting to kind of see whether we've got any crossovers at all. But we're going to go through.
Just as a note for you people who are watching this podcast, Bite Size and I, we have not pre-planned this. This is all spontaneous. This has not been organised off camera or on WhatsApp or anything like that. He literally sent me all the questions of what we're talking about, said this is what we're doing, and just be prepared to have a couple of backup options in case we clash. So yeah, this is not predetermined. I just want to clarify now.
Yeah. So there's been no collusion whatsoever. Yeah. We have no idea.
We don't need VAR on
I've got two backup options, but I'm now looking at my list thinking maybe I need a third or fourth. But it will be really interesting to see if we've got any. So the way that we're going to work this, each week we're going to have 5 draft picks each, and we're going to take turns. So since I suggested the topic this week, I'm going to let Galaxy go first. We'll go through and take turns until we've got our team of 5 Jedi minifigs. So Galaxy, over to you. What is your first draft pick?
My first draft pick, and I am going to go big or going to go home. And it is a character that has had so much love, not just in the Star Wars community, but in the Lego community. And I'm going to pick Jedi Bob.
Oh,
yes!
He was my first pick. He was at the top of my list. I'm screen recording this, by the way, so I will show that Jedi Bob was top of my list. So I'm gutted that you got in there first.
I'm sorry, mate, but, you know...
Of course. I don't think he really needs any explanation.
No, it's Jedi Bob. Come on.
Yeah, have to say I'm devastated that you got in with that.
It's like scoring a 90th minute winner, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's Barcelona in '99.
Oh, that is Manchester United in the treble-winning final game of the Champions League. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so a lot. I mean, it's going to be difficult to beat that.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
So I'm already going to have to move on to my second pick. So for my first draft pick, I'm going with Plo Koon.
Oh,
was he
one
of
my
yours?
Second? Yeah.
No way. So we've got the exact same top 2 so far.
Okay, that is a good pick because we haven't had a Plo Koon in years.
No, and I think for me the Wolf Pack are one of my favourite clone units as well, and he came alongside them in a set. So yeah, Plo Koon, one of my favourite characters. Love the fact that he's got that connection to Ahsoka as well. So yeah, Plo Koon. I think we're going to have to add some extras to our list at the moment. So our top 2 have been the same, but we've only had one pick each. So you've got Jedi Bob, I've got Plo Koon. What's going to be your second pick then?
Kit Fisto.
Nice.
Because I love Kit Fisto is one of my favourite Star Wars characters because I love obviously just his tendrils, and I love his look, and obviously when he was in Attack of the Clones, I just love him and his look. I thought he was cool, and then obviously when he fights in the Geonosian arena and he's just like grinning and he's got a big smile, and then he reappeared in Clone Wars, and then unfortunately he met his demise in Revenge of the Sith. They did my boy Kit Fisto dirty, but no.
Oh, they really did.
Kit Fisto is definitely up there, so I am glad I picked Kit Fisto.
Yeah, that is a great pick, a great minifig as well. That was in the Palpatine's office playset as well,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so that's another figure that's due for a re-release, I think.
Yeah, awesome pick. Okay, my next pick is a very nostalgic pick because when I was thinking back and thinking about Jedi minifigs that I've owned personally, the first ever Jedi minifig is my second pick, and that is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, shout! Is that from the original Phantom Menace wave when he's got the yellow skin? Yeah. Oh, that is a good. I didn't think of that, but that's a good pick. I like that. I rate that.
Yeah. So that was when I was thinking about those Phantom Menace sets were my kind of first introduction into Lego. And so he was the first Jedi that I ever had. He still is one of my favourite Jedi in general. So yeah, I had to have Qui-Gon Jinn in there. So that's my second pick. So 2 each.
And we've not clashed, which is good.
Yeah, finally.
Okay, so for I guess it's my third pick now, isn't it? Yep. So for my third pick, I'm going to pick a character that his actual in-canon backstory has flipped and flopped. It changed. Some people are hot on him, some people are cold on him, some people like him, some people don't. And I am going to say Quinlan Vos.
Oh, nice. That is not one that I had thought
because
of.
He's in the Turbo Tank set that comes with, I think it's the 2015, 2016 Turbo Tank, with the Force Awakens.
Yeah, is Luminara in that one as well?
Yeah, and that is, to the best of my knowledge anyway, that's like the most recent iterations of Quinlan and Luminara, and I thought, I'm going to have to pick Quinlan Vos just because he's ace. I mean, I think he's a character that a lot of people don't always like, and obviously if you are a big fan of the novel, you'll know that he falls in love with Asajj Ventress, been redeemed and things like that, and he survives Order 66. To survive Order 66, get in my team, this is my all-star team. This is like strong. Go on, your turn, dear sir. The floor is yours.
Okay, I think my next one might be a slightly when we're thinking minifig wise, it might be slightly controversial.
Right.
But I love this minifig. If we're thinking Star Wars characters, I've got everyone beat hands down. But this minifig might be controversial. My third choice is Luke Skywalker, but from the Dark Trooper attack set.
Ooh, okay. Not the version of Luke I would have gone for. I respect it, I like it, but it's not the version of Luke I would have gone for.
I love the hood, so it's not like a kind of wrap around, it kind of just drops either side of his face. Yeah. I just think it's like, I don't know, I know I hate to say this, I've always loved Return of the Jedi, but I've always wanted to see always wanted to see prime Luke Skywalker, and I think in The Mandalorian that scene was prime Luke Skywalker, just absolutely wrecking shop, crushing these dark troopers that were making Mando look silly. I love that scene. I don't think I've ever felt so emotional watching Star Wars before. And so it's got a very, I feel like I've got a strong link to that version of Luke, and then to see it in minifig form, to get that Lego set, I was a big fan. That's my third pick.
That's a good solid option as well.
Yeah, strong. Right, we've got some good teams here. This is going into your fourth pick now. We're going into the. Are we into the dregs of?
Jedi I'm not going to lie to you. When you sent me these questions last night, I was sat there and because obviously I didn't write this down. I've just done this on the whim and I remembered every single one. And I was looking at, recent sets, who's been released, characters that I myself would invest my time in, things like that. And I was thinking to myself, there's been some really good Jedi figures in the years that have, been Lego. And I thought to myself, if I was having to pick a team of my favourite Jedi, who would I want? And I was thinking, okay, I definitely want A, B, and C. And I was like, it's going to be tense. So for my fourth pick, I am going to have to pick a character that I don't think you would have thought of, but I'm hoping that I can have him because technically he is still a Jedi and he just looks absolutely boss. And I'm going to say Pong Krell.
Oh no! Why have you done that?
Why?
I hate Pong Krell. How?
I'm saying Pong.
I think that is a very controversial one. I think.
I like the fact that when you see him, he's got obviously because he's got 8 arms and stuff. The fact that he can carry 4 double-bladed lightsabers at once. I mean, regardless of the fact that he is a trash character in Umbara and he's awful, you've got to admit the fact that he can spin double-bladed lightsabers like they're nothing. You've got to respect that, and I think he's only been released once. He's a valuable minifigure to have in any collection. We may never get a re-release of Pong Krell, and I've got 3 or 4 maybe. I've got 3 good Force users, I'm picking brute force, mate. I'm going all out for Ponkrell.
Honestly, like, as a character, I'm like, how could you even consider having him in your team? As someone that is in your team, I don't think you can look past that. I think that's a great pick, because I think you're right. I think he is just going to wreck shop.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's getting
That's
past.
what I'm aiming for, mate. I'm aiming for, like, big today.
You've got a diverse team there. I think you're kind of covering all areas. I'm impressed. Okay, so I'm on to my fourth pick now. And this, again, is a bit of a nostalgic pick for me. This was my first Lego set after becoming an adult.
Okay.
Which is a bit of an odd one. It was like, I'm trying to think, I must have been like 23, probably hadn't bought a Lego set for 10 years probably. And I got it as a birthday present, and then little do they know that they have started me down this very dark path of spending horrific amounts. But my fourth pick is Clone Wars Yoda.
Oh, mate!
So I got the 80 RT set with the Clone Wars Yoda, and it is specifically that Clone Wars like style Yoda minifig. How can you not have Yoda in your team?
I know, I rate that. I rate that. That is good, because it's Yoda, isn't it? You know, he's like the most powerful Jedi that has ever lived.
Yeah, because when I was coming up with what topic we were doing, I was thinking I've got to have Yoda in there somewhere, but what version of Yoda? And then I think I sort of went down like your Ponkrell route, and I've got to have someone in there that is going to beef up my team a little bit. So I'm not sure that Hermit Yoda is going to be that person. So I went back Clone Wars. He's going to be taking people out. So yeah, fourth pick, Clone Wars Yoda. Okay, so we're on to your last pick now. Final pick.
Right.
I think these teams are fairly even as well. I think this is going to be
my personal favourite characters in the the whole saga, but I'm going to pick a different version of him.
Okay.
So I am going to pick Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, nice.
And we're talking like Utapau and Mustafar Obi-Wan Kenobi. When Obi-Wan Kenobi is at the peak of his powers.
I genuinely think so underestimated as a character.
Because
people always talk about Anakin. Anakin's the strongest Jedi that's ever existed. He's the most powerful Force user. Turns into Darth. Like, he is top tier character. And yet nobody ever talks about the fact that he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah, and also as well, if you think about it realistically, we're talking about our teams and how diverse powerful characters within the whole Star Wars universe. Like, he's like 1,000 years old. But Obi-Wan Kenobi fills the niches of he's a diplomat, he's a warrior, he's a tactician, he's a people person, he's a mentor. He fills that big void, and you've got characters like, you know, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Siasi Tin. But Obi-Wan Kenobi is he's the perfect all-rounder. And I think if you're going to do a dream team of top 5 figures, you've got to have Obi-Wan Kenobi at the peak of his prime.
Oh, what a way to round out your squad.
I mean, obviously, you know, it's like when you used to play FIFA and you used to get like a prime gold Iniesta. You know what I mean? It's like what you want, isn't it?
Taking it.
Go on.
Okay.
Final one.
Amazing. And let's just really quickly run down your final 5 then. Who were they? They were
Jedi Bob.
Yeah.
So we had Jedi Bob. We had Kit Fisto.
Ponkrell.
What, sorry? Ponkrell and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. What a team. Okay, so mine so far has been Plo Koon, Qui-Gon Jinn, Luke Skywalker, Clone Wars Yoda, and this is my Ponkrell pick because I hate this character because they once called Ahsoka Tano a citizen. Get out. My next character is Mace Windu.
Oh, mate!
And he is from the, again, this will be a controversial pick because it's a very recent set, but the 332nd Republic tank set that's just been released.
What?
I just think it's a beautiful.
I respect that because it's a great minifigure. And I mean, Mace Windu, hot and cold, again, he is like Marmite. You either like him or you don't like him. The fact that you've picked a very good version of Mace Windu for your dream team, and you've gone for the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, and you've also picked Yoda, you picked Mace Windu, who is like the head of the Jedi Council. You've picked the 2 senior most members of the Jedi Order for your team.
Yeah, I think when I go through my team, like I've picked, I think, very well respected Jedi. Yeah. That Mace Windu was a really tricky because Ahsoka is my favourite character in Star Wars. And in that Clone Wars episode where she's like chatting and they're talking about Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then Mace Windu turns around and is like, "You can't be here, citizen." I'm like, "Get out." I used to like Mace Windu before that moment. I completely flipped on him. But no, yeah. So my final team, Plo Koon, which I know that we both had, so I was really pleased to get that. Although I lost out on Jedi Bob, I'm still happy with Plo Koon. Qui-Gon Jinn, Luke Skywalker, Prime Luke Skywalker from Mando, Clone Wars Yoda, and Mace Windu. I think that's a fairly strong team.
That is solid. That is good. They'll put a shift in.
Yeah. Absolutely. But we're not going to decide which one's better. We'll leave it to the people to decide. I think we could probably clip this down into a little TikTok and we'll have a little poll and see who came out on top.
I will leave that one up to you, dear sir. But I just want to clarify, based on looking back on both our teams, there are some notable omissions. Like, for example, neither of us have said Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano is not in there, and again, it's a very hit and miss. Will they, won't they, could we pick them? Would you have classified
Oh, you just cut out as you said that. Who was that person? No, you're on.
You what, sorry?
It's just like the audio dropped for like 2 seconds as you were saying the name. Who
Rey.
did you say? Rey. Okay, yeah, strong. For me, Anakin wasn't even on my reserve list. Mace Windu was my first reservist.
Yeah.
Then Ahsoka was my second reservist. Again, Ahsoka was only on there because I was craving an Ahsoka minifig, but I still don't think the one that we got was fantastic. I think it's all right. But with Anakin, I just don't think they've ever made a really good Anakin minifig. I just don't. I look at the episode 2 one from the gunship and it doesn't work for me. The episode 3 ones, I get that they're Lego, but they almost feel like too cartoony. I just don't feel like they really portray Anakin. And I know that's a really difficult thing to do with a minifig, but no, he wasn't even in my thinking, I don't think.
Yeah. That's understandable.
But Rey is an interesting one.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of Rey.
I wouldn't even say like Rey's even classified as a Jedi. I think she's just a character that they've obviously thrown into the new universe and things like that. But I myself personally, I think based on our two teams, I definitely think we have gone very strong and we can both cater to every single niche. I mean, I've gone for brute force and diplomacy. You've gone for mastery and mentorship. So I rate them. I rate our two teams.
Yeah, I think they are very different. I've definitely gone for those, like, I guess, older, wiser heads. Certainly with Plo Koon, Qui-Gon, Yoda, and Mace Windu, and then Luke, it's just kind of like an all round at that stage of his life. I guess. So yeah, I think they're close teams. Right. So I think that sort of rounds us out for today.
I think so. It's been ace. I've really enjoyed this, and I'm glad that you asked me to come on and do a podcast with you. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I think next time I want to iron out some technical issues, but I think that's more preparation than anything. But like you say, I've really enjoyed talking Lego with you. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week after Brickfest, so we'll be seeing you on Sunday.
You shall.
Brickfest. Yeah. So is there anything? Do you want to give yourself a shout out before we go? Tell people where.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys don't already go and follow me, you can find me on TikTok at the Galaxy of Bricks. You can find me on Instagram at the Galaxy of Bricks, and you can also find my YouTube channel, which is Galaxy of Bricks as well. I'm trying to post a lot more content on my YouTube channel. I've got about 3 or 4 months worth of sets and content to post on there, so that's trying to beef up and things like that. But yeah, if ever you're unsure about anything and you want any advice on Lego, my DM box is always open. I'll try and answer these things for you. But also, if you want to go and follow our host as well, Bite Size Bricks, you can find him on TikTok as well. And yeah, go for it. He's ace. You're very welcome.
No, I've really enjoyed this. It's a bit of an experiment, but we're going to see where it goes, and hopefully kind of pursue with it and see if we can tighten it up a little bit. But I've really enjoyed our discussions. I think people are going to like.
I think so, and I think I might pitch some ideas for our next draft, because if we're doing Jedi this week, I've got an idea for next week's one.
Okay, looking forward to it.
When will this podcast go live so that people know?
So my plan is to have it out on a Friday evening, so that gives me time to kind of piece it together and make it actually watchable or audible. So yeah, hopefully by Friday evening. But I'm sure myself and Galaxy will keep you updated on TikTok, and we'll kind of let everybody know once I've got a more firm time down. Because I know that you can do the live premieres on YouTube as well. So I might do that and kind of have it as a live premiere where we'll play the video, but I'll be in the chat and kind of keeping up with people if you wanted to discuss it. So that's the plan. But yeah, we'll nail down the time soon.
Perfect.
Hopefully. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. and we'll leave it there.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for watching two extremely nerdy men talk about Lego and Star Wars. It's been a pleasure.